Have you ever noticed that if you rearrange the letters in mother-in-law, they come out as woman Hitler? Coincidence? I think not. Here are 25 chilling coincidences you won't believe are real. 25. When Henry Ziegler broke up with his girlfriend and she committed suicide, her brother decided to shoot Henry and then himself. Henry survived, however, as the bullet grazed him and lodged into a nearby tree. Years later, Henry tried to cut the tree down. It wasn't working, so he decided to use dynamite. Guess who the bullet ended up killing? 24. In 2002, a man was hit by a truck in Finland as he was trying to cross Highway 8 on his bike. 2 hours later, his twin brother was also hit by a truck while trying to cross the same highway on his bike. They died within 1.5 kilometers of each other, 2 hours apart. 23. Called The Narrative of Arthur Gordon Pym, Edgar Allan Poe wrote his book about 4 shipwreck survivors who were adrift on a raft for several days before deciding to eat the cabin boy, whose name was Richard Parker. Not long after, in 1884, a ship called the Mignonette ended up sinking and leaving only 4 survivors. They decided to eat the cabin boy, and of course, his name was Richard Parker. 22. According to Mysteries of the Unexplained, in the 1920s, 3 Englishmen met on a train in Peru. The first one's last name was Bingham, the second one was Powell, and the third was Bingham-Powell. 21. 2 twins, John and Arthur Malforth, lived about 120 kilometers from each other in England. On May 22, 1975, both began to experience chest pain and were admitted to separate hospitals. Unaware of each other's conditions, they both died not long after. 20. Anne Parrish, an American writer, was walking through a bookstore in Paris when she came across Jack Frost and Other Stories. She began to tell her husband how she loved the book when she was a child. He took the book, opened it, and inside the cover were written the words, Anne Parrish, 209 North Weber Street, Colorado. 19. King Umberto I of Italy went to a small restaurant. He came to realize that both he and the owner were born on the same day, in the same town, and they had both married a woman named Margherita. On July 29, 1900, the king was told that the restaurant owner had been shot dead in the street. Later that day, the king was assassinated. 18. During the production of Deus Ex, the video game, one of the artists forgot to add the Twin Towers to New York City. His mistake was explained by way of a terrorist attack. The year was 2000. 17. Rome's founder was supposedly named Romulus. Its first emperor was named Augustus. Its last emperor was named Romulus Augustus. 16. Although not done deliberately, the graves of the first British soldier and the last British soldier to die in World War II are only several meters apart. 15. Stalin, Hitler, and Franz Joseph, who are collectively responsible for nearly 80 million deaths, all lived in Vienna at the same time. 14. At age 49, South African astronomer Daniel Du Toit was giving a lecture about how death could come at any time. After he finished, he pulled out a mint and popped it into his mouth. Within a few minutes, he had choked to death. 13. Napoleon and Hitler were born 129 years apart, came to power 129 years apart, declared war on Russia 129 years apart, and were defeated 129 years apart. 12. In 1895, there were only 2 cars in the entire state of Ohio, until they ran into each other. 11. Mark Twain was born in 1835 during an appearance of Halley's Comet. In 1909, he said he expected to go out with Halley's Comet when it came the following year. In 1910, he died on the day of its appearance. 10. According to Reader's Digest, 2 twins were born in Ohio and separated at birth. They knew nothing of each other, but both were subsequently named James. They both became police officers and both married women named Linda. They both had a son. One named his son James Allen, A-L-A-N, and the other named his son James Allen, A-L-L-A-N. They both divorced and remarried women named Betty, and they both had dogs named Toy. 9. In the early 1930s, Joseph Figlock was walking down the street when a baby fell out of a window right onto his shoulders. Neither was harmed. 1 year later, the exact same baby fell on Joseph's shoulders in the exact same spot. 8. In 1975, a man was killed by a taxi while riding a scooter in Bermuda. 1 year later, the man's brother was killed on the same scooter by the same taxi driver who was carrying the same passenger. 7. Violet Jessup was on the RMS Olympic when it collided with the HMS Hawk. She was on the RMS Titanic when it hit an iceberg, and she was on the HMHS Britannic when it hit a mine. 6. During World War I, the British turned the passenger vessel RMS Carmania into a battleship. They then disguised it as the German passenger liner, the SMS Cap Trafalgar. On September 14, 1914, it sank a German vessel off the coast of Brazil. That vessel was the real SMS Trafalgar, which the Germans had disguised as the RMS Carmania. 5. Archduke Franz Ferdinand's car in which he was assassinated had a license plate that read AIII-118. World War I ended with an armistice on 11/11/18. 4. When Soviet archaeologists opened the tomb of Tamerlane, a Mongol descendant of Genghis Khan, they found an inscription that read, "Whoever opens my tomb will unleash an invader more terrible than I." It was June 20th, 1941. Germany invaded the Soviet Union on June 22nd. 3. The first man to die working on the Hoover Dam was J.G. Tierney, who died on December 20th, 1922. The last man died on December 20th, 1935. It was J.G. Tierney's son. 2. According to Incredible Coincidence by Alan Vaughan, sometime in the late 1950s, Mr. George D. Bryson checked into the Brown Hotel in Louisville, Kentucky, only to discover that the person who stayed there before him was also Mr. George D. Bryson. 1. Jimi Hendrix and George Handel both lived in 23 and 25 Brook Street, London, respectively. Two famous musicians, 200 years apart. Enjoying our lists? Be sure to click that subscribe button in the top right corner so you don't miss out on new ones every Monday through Friday. Share them with your friends and help us consistently conciliate curiosity. And if you want even more lists, check out these two videos here, or just head to our website at list25.com.